Hello, everybody. My name is RODGON. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm a cartoonist. And today, more than anything, I am your teacher. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to another lesson. Welcome to another class. Let's talk a little bit about what we went over yesterday so that we can recap on that today. Yesterday's lesson was actually really fun. We went on about what Wes did in his intro class. He wasn't able to do it today because he had real work. So he is not able to do your guys' warm-up lesson today, but normally he will be able to do our little warm-up 30-minute lesson in his stream. So yesterday we talked a little bit about the human body and how you can start learning how to draw it by starting off fairly simple, learning how to use that simple shape, and then progress to learning how to separate it into more parts. And little by little, you learn how to manipulate those basic shapes to make them into the things that you wish to do. So I went over that a little bit. We went over the sections of the body and how you can learn to do that from basic shapes and slowly build your methods up. How proportions play absolutely no role, and how drawing things with 8 heads tall, stupid stuff, it's just like, ugh. It's just blah. Because people come in different shapes and sizes, and they're not always 8 heads tall. So we also talked a little bit about the importance of style and how to actually achieve that, and how to learn to draw your shapes in different brushes, like how to go from flat to learning how to draw 3-dimensional shapes. Right? So I explained all this yesterday. That was like really, really cool stream. I'm going to see if I can upload that one. But then later on in the afternoon, we went over some fun pinups for myself, and I drew my little baby mustache. And you guys just came up with some random shit. A baby bunny demon, a Snorlax. A Snorlax. It's not a Snorlax, it's the Lorax. And then I was just explaining to you guys how to bend the legs, how to use Aladdin pants to come up with legs really fast. And we just went nuts on some Panda Scouts. So we did a couple Panda Scouts and some murder bears. So no Care Bears. The opposite of Care Bears would be murder bears. So we did a couple murder bears because they don't care. Anxiety bear and death bear. And now we get to go on to another lesson today. And we haven't decided what we're going to do yet. So what should we learn on this beautiful Thursday afternoon? Should we learn something complicated? Should we learn something simple? What would you guys like to learn today? I love taking suggestions from you guys because that's how I know exactly what people need to work on. If you have suggestions, leave it in the comments. Expressions, dynamic ecstatic poses, arms, complicated shape manipulation. You need to be more specific on that. Realistic animals. Realism is going to be a more consistently it's going to take longer to teach that. Mostly because to be able to show you guys examples of how to draw a realistic animal, I'm going to have to take a lot of time to draw a realistic animal. It doesn't come easy, and it's not necessarily something that you can just do like off the top of your head. You have to literally look at textures, references, and you need to actually pay attention to what you're doing. Drawing a generalized idea of the animal is never going to be quite the same as drawing it from memory or drawing it from reference. So it normally takes a long time to be able to master the ability to draw realistic animals. Now, I can draw like cartoony and illustrative animals all day long and not have to worry about that. But to draw realistic animals, it takes a lot of reference, a lot of knowing how to do lights, texture, contrast, color theory, and realism in general takes a little bit longer to learn, but everything you learn here is based on that, right? Anything you learn here is going to help you along the lines. And when you realize that it's just drawing without lines, you end up drawing a little bit more cool realism stuff. You just have to learn to eliminate all the lines from your drawings. And once you learn to do that, realism can start kicking in. And I'm not claiming that this is a realistic bird, but that's how you would slowly start approaching it. You would just eliminate as many lines as you could so that it could actually stand out the way that it needs to. Essentials about anatomy that help you when you want to draw a cartoon or your own character. Yeah, okay, that's normally what we do every day. So I'm giving you guys very simple concepts every day to learn how to draw your characters based on anatomy and actually be able to map those out with realistic things, even if you do go cartooning. So if you guys want to learn a little bit of that, we can totally go into that. But that's mostly what we do every single day in our classes. It's just normally hidden within individual lessons. So I've taught you guys how to do your basic shapes for pretty much every single body part. I have taught you guys simple ways to be able to understand how to draw your bodies in multiple different ways. So what you end up doing with the knowledge that I provide is going to be up to your imagination. I can only provide you the guidelines and the tools. You guys have to finish with your own imagination, your own knowledge. A teacher can only do so much for you. So a teacher can guide you. A teacher can tell you exactly where things are supposed to go, can tell you the basic way to break everything down, but it's going to be up to you to do something interesting with that. I can't guide your hand through every single step of the process, unfortunately, as much as I wish I could. So whatever knowledge you get from me, just realize that you have to implement your own styling from there, right? You need to learn to make it your own. But once you do, it's really fun. And once you learn a little bit more about anatomy, you'll end up in a situation where these little sushis and things that we draw are going to start making a little bit more sense. They won't look as stylized, they won't look as cartoony, and depending on what level of detail you want to apply to it, you're going to be able to draw more comic bookish, realistic, illustrative, or cartoony drawings, depending on what you need. What's important anatomy for animals? Learning how to draw the hip bones and how to draw a rib cage essentially encompass both humans So learning where these things go is not just a human trait. Learning where things like these go is also an animal trait. Learning how your body parts connect and work are essential to learning how to draw animals. Okay? Understanding your body parts, how they work, how they move in space, is going to be the same thing for an animal or a human. You just need to learn the very subtle differences that come along with the anatomies of both species. But the rib cage and the hip bones are exactly the same. Mostly because we're both mammals. So pretty much anything that's a mammal is going to consist of the same concept. If you have something like a horse or like a giraffe or something like that, you would end up with a different set of hip bones and a different set of collarbones. So understanding how these things work is going to help you not just with humans, but it's going to help you understand how things work in the animal kingdom as well. Okay? So don't think that you have to draw differently. To me, it's even sillier when people think they have to draw differently to draw men and women. To me, that just sounds hilarious to me because that's not the case. Okay? You don't need to draw differently. It's the same human. It's just proportioned differently. The average human will not have differentiation between his hips and his ribcage. That's the average. If you want somebody that's more feminine or has like more kadunk, make the hip bones a little bigger so that you have more width to the actual legs. Less width and it tapers naturally. Okay? If you want a character that has a bigger upper body and smaller hip bones, well, you're going to get a different character. But it's the same things inside. Right? It's exactly the same things. It's a rib cage, hip bones, and head. The HRH. No, today he didn't have his warm-ups. Today he had his real life. Do you know how to draw everything, or is there something you never draw? If I don't know how to draw it, I just look it up. That's the thing. Like, I'm not really concerned about anything that I don't know how to draw because I can always just look it up and then I just relate it to something else that I've drawn. Like a giraffe is just a horse. A giraffe is just a horse with long heads. Like, that's so I know how to draw a giraffe because that's how I know it. I know how to draw a dog because I've drawn dogs a quadrillion amounts of times. So I know how to draw a dog with its ears and everything because I've drawn it a quadrillion times. I know how to draw a human in a human face, in a human body, because guess what? I have drawn these a quadrillion times over. So, but it's not just about drawing over and over again. I draw and I study my things. Like if I don't know how or what a little part is, like if I don't know what this little divot is, I would go in and I start studying my actual drawing and I start seeing what I'm actually drawing. I'm drawing the side of the eye socket. Great. Awesome. So that's what that divot is going into the cheekbone or into the cheek. Perfect. I don't have to guess anymore. Okay? So now I can exaggerate it. So now that I have that, I can exaggerate that as much as I want. And I know that it's going to be right underneath the eyes. So now I can take that and I can exaggerate it and it's going to look more accurate. So now understanding your body is going to let you draw things in a stylized way and make it look a little bit better. Giraffes' backs are sloped. Sure, dude. There you go. Is that better? I was trying to make it look like the human so that you guys understood what was happening. You know, trying to relate this to a human body so I can show you guys what happens. So yes, the backs are more sloped like that, but this doesn't represent that. Remember, we're educating here. Sometimes you have to say things in a different way to make it work. I'm thankful for you pointing out my seemingly mistake, though. I appreciate you doing that. How do you draw a human side profiles? For the body or for the face? If it's for the face, you just have to go with something wider than taller and then draw these guidelines. 1/4 of the way up, you draw a line. Halfway down, you draw a line. Here you're gonna draw your eye socket, where it's just gonna be your eye and everything, and you're gonna draw your mouth muzzle. This is where your nose is gonna come in and your mouth is going to come out right there. Your eyebrows are gonna be the top line. This is gonna curve, and about halfway here, you're gonna draw a circle and split it in half. That is gonna give you your cranium and the space for your ear. Go from the bottom of your chin over your ear to the front of your chin, and you have yourself a human structure. Your neck is your spine. So your spine is in the back of your head. So if you trace this going around, remember to leave a little bit of a pocket. I like to call this the brain pocket. The brain pocket is what happens in the back of the spine. And you have a little pocket right there. You got to leave that little pocket so that you can have your neck curling in the right place. And then your neck comes at an angle. It doesn't go straight down. It goes at a slight angle. It connects from there to the bottom of your neck and a little bit of a shadow. So when you are doing these and you're adding things like hair and all those different details, you end up with a decent human structure as a profile. And the beauty about doing it like this is that you don't have to be relegated to a specific proportion. You can do these in any way, shape, or form you want, depending on what is required of you, of your style. Brain pocket. So you'll be able to change these any way you want. And when you start drawing things like hair, these eyes are really, really far forward. How do you draw a fisheye point of view? Fisheye is all about learning how to do vanishing points. So you start with a square. You start with a box like this, like cross. And then you do curvy lines from each one to the other. Okay? So now we have like a globe. And now we are going to draw lines. So I can make a building by just simply connecting these two together and using these instead of straight lines going down. So now I have a building. If I keep going up, I have the ability to make these into 3-point perspective as well. And when you use this combination with things like straighter lines, you can start building entire systems like streets, light posts, people, cars, whatever. So this is how you normally would use that. Can do a self-portrait. I don't know if you're asking, can you do a self-portrait, or you can do a self-portrait. If you can do a self-portrait, buddy, congratulations. I guess. That's a weird thing to just state, but hey, it's like saying, I like turtles. Sure. Awesome. Good job, buddy. But if you're asking for me to draw a self-portrait, this is kind of what I look like. I am bald. I have big glasses, have a big mustache, and I'm generally tired. How do I improve my poses? I don't know what your poses look like, so I don't know what I can change. Can you do the HRH with foreshortening? Yeah. You can definitely do that with foreshortening. You just have to learn how to foreshorten things. Right? You need to learn to move things in space so that you can consider foreshortening as an option. If you don't know how to move things in space, well, foreshortening is going to be a really tough thing to learn. Foreshortening is just tough when you don't know perspective. But once you learn perspective, foreshortening becomes really easy. Let's do it even more. Let's see. Foreshortening is normally used a lot when it comes down to superhero poses and stuff like that. Right? Whenever you're punching, whenever you're like bringing something into the foreground, maybe like an action pose, like the character's jumping forward, and then you have your arm looking back. So everything can be used to guide those things. It really depends on what you want to do with your characters. I need an art lesson. Well, that's what this is. Okay, so head, rib cage, hip bones. So start with your rib cage. Your rib cage is going to give you your head, but it's not going to give you your hip bones. Your hip bones are going to go and connect to your body in some way or another. It depends on how you want to create that. Right? If you want little hip bones, draw a little shape, and you get little hip bones. If you want wide hip bones, you draw the shape wide, and you get yourself wide hip bones. It is that simple. So start with your rib cage. A little circle at top of your rib cage is going to give you the perfect sizing for an average head. From there, go down and draw yourself this shape. This shape, if you connect the edges, now you have hip bones. In all reality, all you really need to do is draw an angle. Anything with an angle helps you understand how your hip bones work. The big point is to connect it as an angle with a circle so that now you can use cylinders to be able to move your things. So learning how to connect it to the body is one thing. Learning how to connect it and move it is going to be another. Okay? Learning how those little circles are the guidelines to be able to draw things in different positions, that's the important part. It's not about drawing the details of the leg. It's not about drawing anything else. It's about learning how the body connects. Once you learn that, everything else comes relatively easy because you're not going to be guessing. Right? So understanding this comes with understanding the rib cage first. Understanding that your rib cage gives you your head by drawing a little circle at the top. Drawing a cylinder up from there can very, very easily give you a head. Connecting the ear to the collarbone gives you the muscles for the neck. Drawing a triangle from the top and the bottom, extending it out, gives you your collarbone and it gives you your shoulder point. Your shoulder point, if you connect it to the middle of your rib cage, gives you your pectoral muscles. Your shoulders are going to wrap around your pectoral muscle and come down your arms. In the middle, you have your abs. And then at the bottom of the abs, we have our crotch and our hip bones. So yes, this looks a little bit weird, but it works really well to map out your body parts. Understanding how your body connects to each other is more important than learning how to draw the actual body structure. What do I mean by that? I mean that you need to learn how your body connects to your body. Learning how it connects means that you can draw simple, you can draw more complex, you can draw stylized, you can draw anything you want as long as you learn how to connect it back to your body. Same thing happens with your collarbone, same thing happens with your hip bone, same thing happens with your arms. Once you learn where they go and how to get there, then you can stylize them any way you want. They can be skinny, they can be long, they could be big hands, they could be little hands. Anything you really feel like drawing at that point, it's fair game. Because you know how to connect it. So it's not like it's wrong. I wasn't showed in art class. This guy's daily lives have helped me so much with anatomy. Yeah. Do any of your books have this step-by-step? Nope. That is why you guys have me here. That is why you guys have me live. That's why you guys have the YouTube channel. That's why you guys have videos and videos and videos and videos and videos. Because sometimes a step-by-step, me explaining this in a video, it's not going to show you exactly how simple this is. You need to see it sometimes in person. You need to see the examples so that you can understand that this is something that you can achieve really, really easy. Okay? It's going to take you time to understand perspective and anatomy a little bit. But you don't have to struggle as much as you're learning because now you don't have to guess. The teeth? Well, let's talk about teeth. What are teeth? Teeth are part of our skeletal system. Teeth come in both molars, fangs, and front teeth. Our teeth are one of the most... We don't really need to add much detail to our teeth because the more that we add, the more that it looks like shit. And then that's like a very accurate statement, by the way. Like, if you add more detail to teeth, let's have a mouth. Let's draw a normal mouth. Some lips. Okay, so we have a mouth. If we just barely add any details for the teeth, it's going to look nice. Nice thin lines. But the moment that we start adding a lot more detail to this, it starts looking a little bit worse. And God forbid you make one line really thick and now the character is just like, has like a gap or something. Okay? So you need to be careful with what you do inside with your line work. I normally just go ahead and I just draw a negative space and maybe a line cross. This is my preferred way of drawing mouths. But when I need to actually draw teeth, let's say like slightly more open mouth, I will go in, differentiate it, and I would just draw the upper guides for our gums. That's all I would normally draw. Just the guide for the gums. And that will give me enough information about teeth, but teeth in general are like this shape. In between, they're connected with gums, so they come out of a gum line. And they have a little bit of texture. So teeth in general have this. Molars are more like that. They have more of a boxy texture to it, kind of like that. And when you draw your mouths, you take your skull and you just draw around your teeth. And that is essentially what you're drawing with your mouths. You're just drawing around your bone structure. So when we're drawing our human skeletons or our faces, we can map out a human skeleton really quickly like this. This is our teeth line. And you just have to draw your mouth around that. Ta-da! Anatomy for the win! Never guess where your mouths go ever again. So that is essentially how I draw my mouths. That's why they never look out of place, even though they're exaggerated. You would never feel like it's actually out of place. So, mouths are very easy. You draw the bottom part of the upper lip, the bottom part of the upper lip first. Then inside of that, intersecting it, you draw the upper part of your bottom lip, draw some negative space, and you have a simple mouth. You can add volume to these, add volume to the upper lip by tapering it up from this point into whatever style shape you want. And then the bottom one tapers in, but again, a little bit inside of that. And then you can give that any shape you want, any form, anything like that. So now you know how to draw lips as well. In 2 lines. 1 line, 2 line, and then volume. Cool? So, what's half of this? If you want to draw a profile, you only draw half of it. So, it's the same thing. Long line, intersecting little line, and teeth line. And you can make it wrap around if you want. How do you draw detailed lips? Well, if you want more details, you're going to need to just learn how overlapping lines work. Right? If you want more detail, it means little creases, and it means little tiny shadows, and overall, detailing the lip is just about making it look glossy most of the time. So if you wanted to make something glossy, you just have to learn that the lip has an edge at the top, and it has a ledge at the front right here. And that's normally all you really need for lips. I mean, you can add more little details like the straying parts of the lips. You can add little overlapping lines at the top, little cast shadows on the mouth. You know, you can start adding a lot more details, but a lot of the times in the mouth, it's not really necessary. The pen is a big pen. It's just a simple Bic. Okay, let's go on to, you guys want to learn about eyes? Eyes are very similar too. Let me take a sip of coffee and then here, I'll let you guys practice your mouths for a second. I'm going to give you guys, oh my God, we only have 6,000 likes. That's it? No. We got to get to at least like 16,000. We have like 400 people in the chat. So we need to get to more likes, guys. That's why we have such low views right now. We can do eyes and eyelashes. Eyes and eyelashes are very similar to mouths. They're going to be a nice, big, curvy, thick line, a line intersecting it, and then you decide whatever styling you want inside. So, eyes in general are not very difficult. Eyes are going to be a very similar concept to this. A lot of people just overcomplicate the whole concept of eyes because they want to draw them in a very specific way. So, when you just think about it as two lines, one long line, one intersecting line, and then you decide your eyelashes style on top of that, you end up in a situation where you can draw really cool styles really quick, and they're not even necessarily simple. You can draw as much detail as you want to them to make it look more comic bookish and realistic. Go take your damn coffee first, Rod. Okay. You know how I know that I need like a really like bossy girl in my life? Bossy in like a good way, by the way. Not like bossy and like being mean to me. But I need someone that knows what they need and tells me exactly what they want. Because I'm a puppy dog boyfriend, dude. Like whenever I do have like partners, I'm like a puppy dog. Like I am the happiest when I'm being of service to someone. So I'm just like, what can I do for you? Can I do this? Can I do this? Can I help you? So if I have someone that tells me like they want stuff, I'm like, yes. It's like playing fetch. But they have to be nice. If they get too, there's like a fine balance. If they get too like demandy, I'm like, nah. Could you show stylizing noses? I've got the framing down, but when I add flesh, it just looks wrong. We can talk about eyes and noses. Eyebrows and noses. Coffee. All the puppies are like going nuts outside. Okay, so eyes. Let's go on the eyes. Peep-a-dee-pa-doo. Eyes. Eyes are the windows to the soul, right? That's essentially what they say. So, why are eyes hard? Why do eyes take us so long to learn? Why are eyes difficult to draw? And how come some people can just seem to draw them so incredibly easy from any shape? Like sometimes it takes me forever to just simply draw a nice, pretty eye. Then you see people that can do them in like no time flat, and they don't really struggle by drawing them in side profiles, front views, side views, front views, top views, whatever you want to call it, right? So the big reason why it's easy for me to do things like this is because I'm not seeing this shape. No. For me, it's an entire eyeball. Okay? What I'm seeing here is an entire eyeball, and I'm choosing what little window shows my eye. That is essentially what I'm doing every single time I'm drawing an eye. I'm drawing an entirety of the eyeball, and then I'm deciding what window is going to show that little eye. By seeing things like this, you can draw both eyes relatively the same, and then just realize that your nose is going to block a little bit. So when you draw different eyes and different sides, you're not necessarily drawing different shapes. A lot of the times, unless they're angled eyes, they're going to have the peak in the same place. The peak is the top of the curvature of your eye. Okay? In this one, the peak would be right here. In this one, the peak would be right there. Normally, this is how it works for a 3/4 and profile. Okay? In the front view, the first line, we're going to be nice and curvy. The peak is going to be right in the middle. In the 3/4, the peak is going to be right at 3/4. And in the profile, the peak is going to be on the side. Okay? So that is essentially how you can visualize your eyes. So when you're drawing your characters, whatever line you decide for that, remember that that eyeball is going to have that curvature in that same spot. And you'll be able to learn a little bit more about how to draw these elements by simply thinking a little bit more about this. Right? Now, this gets complicated when you start having angled eyes, right? Because there's no peak to it. So when you have to draw things like this, I like to just draw parallel lines, look at the inside, look at the outside. Match the top, match the bottom, and you have yourself the other eye. Add whatever stylization you're gonna do, and your nose goes in the middle. So understanding your guidelines is going to help you do this stuff as well. And again, this is just a sphere. So this is the top eyelid, this is the bottom eyelid, top eyelid, bottom eyelid, and on the top of this, we have our eyebrows. So now that we understand what the eyeball is, well, now let's see it a completely different way. Completely different way, okay? So this is like the advanced version of this shit. Now let's go into beginner level class. So beginner level class. Hi everybody, we're gonna draw some eyeballs. What is an eyeball? The eyeball is a circle. And what is inside of that circle? It's normally another circle. And now we have an eyeball, right? But how do we make it even more detailed? Well, we add more circles. So we add a third circle and we add a fourth circle to be able to come up with a highlight. So that's 4 circles to give us the details of an eye. So let's play around with that in different spaces. Different sizes, different shapes. Ooh, cool. We squish it and it looks like it's to the side. If we move it over here, what happens? Oh, it looks like it's looking that way. Awesome. So now we know that 4 circles being drawn together is going to give us an eyeball. What happens if we add a 5th one? Let's add one more. So we're going to go circle, 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 circle. So that's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to add a different one. We're going to add an oblong. We're going to add a circle, but it's going to be a little bit like this. So now we have a semblance of an eyeball. Yay, what happens if we change the size of that? So if we change the size of this one, it makes our eye more open, or it makes our eye more closed. That's really cool. Okay? So understanding this simple concept of 5 circles is going to get you to an eyeball. Learning how to do that in different spaces is going to take a little bit of time. But you'll get there, okay? You'll get there. So that's step 2. Step 3 is just overlapping the top line. That's it. That's it. And you have a really cool eyeball. So 5 circles and an overlap give you an eyeball. 5 circles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an overlap. Yay! Now you don't even have to make them circles anymore. So now you can change the inside to anything you want, and that concept is going to stick to you. Okay? Now, when you're drawing these on people, find where your eye is supposed to go, draw your detail, and you use those guidelines to draw yourself your eyes in any way you want. Your mouths, again, 2 intersecting lines and negative space. So, eyes are no longer an issue for you. Congratulations! Round of applause. I really want to know where to draw, but you don't know where to start. So, start by drawing circles. Learn how to draw circles and start with simple shapes like happy faces and emojis, right? Just start with really simple things that you can reference off of anything. You don't have to draw something overly complicated to start drawing. It has to be something cute, can be something cute. It doesn't have to be super hard. If you want to be able to rotate these a little bit, draw a circle inside, and now you have a guideline to draw these things on. If you draw the circle different widths, you have yourself different views. So that is number 1. Step 1 is to understand how to draw shape and how to move these features a little bit inside. So if you don't know anything about drawing, if you start like this, it's going to be incredibly helpful for you. How about the nose, Rod? Did you forget? No, we haven't forgotten. The nose in itself goes in between your eyes. You have to learn your eyes before you go into your nose. So now that we know where our eyes go, the space in between my eyes is going to be the space for my nose. So it doesn't matter if you have a character that has very little space in between. The space in between that nose is still going to be where your nose comes from. Now, it can taper and it can stretch out all you want, but it's going to be that area that you have to keep in mind. So if your eyes are very far apart from each other, that space in between is still going to be the space for your nose. So it just means that your character now has a much wider area that he needs to cover to be able to make that space work. So everything connects to something else. Everything. So in this case, we need to learn about our nose canal, and we need to learn about the cartilage that comes out from there. The nose canal and the cartilage that comes out from there. The nose canal and the cartilage that comes out from there. Luckily for us, it's not very hard to understand that part. The way that I like to draw faces and teach faces is by drawing a midline and then drawing a triangle. Right? That triangle is going to be the baseline for your nose. When you follow those guidelines for that triangle around the shape, it gives you these little guidelines. These guidelines, what does it look like? It looks like a human skeleton in a very simplified way. Right? So what you're doing is you're replicating your very basic human structure. Now, here we have a space for your eye socket already. We have the upper part of the eye socket, which is your eyebrow line. At the top of the triangle, that is where you draw your eyes. In this nose right here, this nose is going to come out of there. So that triangle, to draw the base, you're going to draw a dot to however far you want your nose to be out, and then you're going to connect it back to all 3 points, giving yourself a little pyramid, therefore giving yourself a nice little base for your nose. You can do that, and you can point the nose in any direction you want, and it's going to give you a very accurate depiction of where that nose is supposed to go, with a bottom and a top. And it also gives you the angles so that you can play around with the sides of your nose. So now when you got that, once you get this, you can use these two lines as nostril lines and then draw your little wing shapes outside of that. So you draw your triangle, you connect it, and then use these as your nostril lines, and then draw a little shape for each one of the nostrils. Round out your nose if you want, and you have yourself a nose. So that is how you can do it. If you want something different that's not necessarily a nice little straight nose, consider that this is the middle of your nose, right? This is going to be the middle of your nose bridge. This is going to be the middle of your nose bridge on the bottom. If you start playing around with different shapes, you're creating a middle that's going to be different. Your nose bridge is now broken, but it's still connected to those points. So you have that, and you're just shifting the line at the top, creating a different nose. So now you have the ability to draw a variety of noses based on the same system. You don't have to stick to that very basic nose. Now you have the ability to think about this in a variety of different ways. And it works the same for the front, the side, the 3/4, even looking up. From the front, it's even easier. You just draw a dot inside most of the time. Okay? And that leads to your eyes, eyebrows, and mouth. So understanding these things in very simple ways can help you understand how to draw these in space a little bit better. So that is noses in general. So let's draw a couple of things with noses so you guys see how this is applied. As you guys can see, it's really easy to draw the nose once you learn where things are supposed to go. We already went over mouths. Mouths are the same way. Mouths are one long line, one overlapping line, and then negative space. But we already went over that. We went over teeth, we went over lips, we went over that stuff. So you missed it. Next time, join us earlier. How do you draw mythical creatures? That's a very big order, and that's a lot of mythical creatures, and there's no specific way. Like, you wouldn't draw a Minotaur the same way you draw a Hydra. So it's not like all mythical creatures are the same. So if you're asking for advice on that, I would do reference. Research. If you just want to learn how to draw every mythical creature and that's your question, research. Research, references, and that's it. If you are asking for a specific one, then maybe I can help you draw that one specifically, but not if you just have a generalized thing like, I want to draw everything. You guys got to ask better questions if you guys want better answers. What about anatomy? Anatomy consists of noses, that's anatomy. Eyes, that's anatomy. Faces, that's anatomy. Eyes, that's anatomy. How about rib cages and legs and everything else we'll be talking about? That's anatomy, right? So anatomy in general is a very loose term that a lot of people use for, I don't know, for body parts, I guess. That's what they want to refer to. But you need to be a little bit more specific about what you want. I don't use a pencil, I use a pen. Hey, thank you. I want my son to watch this. He's already a good artist. Oh, yeah. If he's already a good artist, he's going to be fantastic by the time he's done, like, playing around with this stuff. Did you copy a lot of cartoon characters to learn? No. Actually, no, I lie. For a very long time, I copied a lot of artwork, because that was the only way that I learned how to draw. Like, I was not a naturally gifted artist at first. Like I had developed an affinity for it, but it wasn't naturally gifted at first. So a lot of the times I was copying a lot of artists, right? Like I personally liked the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. That was like one of my favorites because it was really easy to draw. Like I could replicate that style very easy. Not that I knew absolutely any way to move it or anything. I didn't know how to animate it, but I liked the style because it was nice and simple. It didn't consist of any anatomy. And it was just really, really simple to add my own versions of that. So I learned through that, but that fucked me up. That fucked me up really bad because I got so used to drawing in a competent way. I could draw incredibly good in a very stylized way. I got so comfortable with it that I just developed the ability to draw pretty much anything from that. But I didn't really want to just draw that style. I wanted to be able to draw multiple styles. So when I find out that in order to draw more complicated styles, you need to actually put a lot of work in learning about muscle structures and how to overlap lines and how they connect. Well, that was something that I couldn't see because I couldn't even draw a sphere. Like I couldn't actually tell you that I could rotate a happy face on a sphere for the life of me. There's no way that I could have done this simple exercise, just moving an emoji around a sphere with guidelines. There's no way I could have done that because I didn't know volume. I didn't know how to control perspective. I didn't know anything really about any sort of depth. So for me, it wasn't a sphere. Whenever I was drawing something in 3/4, it wasn't like, ooh, well, I'm seeing the different sizes, I'm different depths. No, to me, it was like, okay, this is like a half moon. And then you have to draw like another circle, but I wouldn't know where to put it. And then like a mouth kind of goes in there, but I didn't know where it goes. So I just kind of drew it in there in a place that looked appealing. That's not right, right there, but it looked good. So I got so comfortable drawing good stuff that I stopped pushing to be excellent. I stopped pushing to get to that next level because I got so comfy with a style. And then I was like, I can do this style the rest of my life. And that's all I'm going to do because I am awesome. Very quickly, you come to realize that that's not going to happen. And you're not going to necessarily be the happiest just drawing the same shit over and over and over again. I realized that really quickly. And it came down to the point where it was like just frustrating when I had to draw in that style because I couldn't push myself. And I'm a very competitive person. So I'm a very, very competitive person. Like I love competition. I do it friendly and I do it like without being an asshole, but I love competition. And it's just something that drives me. And I compete with myself much more than I compete with anyone else. For me, the competition is not about being the best against you. The competition is against me. The competition is directly against the younger version of me. Imagine that I'm playing one of those like ghosting, like racing car games, right? Where you have like a version of you that you have to beat like your score. So that is essentially how I see my life. Constantly, every year, I'm telling myself, okay, you have to do better than last year. You have to be better than you were last year. And if you don't do that, then you're not doing what you're supposed to. And eventually, when you get enough of a mindset like that, you end up thinking like that a lot more than you don't. And when you allow yourself the ability to pursue that to its full extent, you end up in a situation where you grow exponentially. But you gotta learn to not be mean to yourself. That is the one thing that is the hardest for most people. Learning not to be mean to yourself. Learning to not be an asshole to yourself. Learning to not put yourself down, tell yourself you're dumb, tell yourself you're not doing things right. The only way that I can explain this is going to be like this. If you had your best friend, your most supportive fan, the most supportive human being that you can possibly think of, your mom, your parents, grandparents, grandma, nana, whatever you want to like imagine. Okay, imagine the most supportive human being in your life. Now imagine them talking shit to you every day. Now imagine that person telling you you're garbage every single day. How shitty would that feel? That would be incredibly devastating, right? Like, I don't think anybody could really recover from the same person that they trust and they love and they value and cherish. Them telling them over and over that they're garbage will eventually destroy you. It'll break you from the inside out. So you're that person. You should be the most important person to yourself. You should always be your number one fan. And if your number one fan is talking bad about you, telling you can't do things, instead of encouraging you and being like, yeah, man, go fucking get it. You can do this. We got this. If you keep on saying like, oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, you can't do that. You'll never do that. You'll never achieve that. Imagine that person being like that. And imagine how devastating that would be. How do you draw with a pen without messing up? Well, I mess up all the time. I mess up all the time. You guys just don't see it. I constantly mess up. I mess up all the time. So anyways, this is essentially like learning how to love yourself. It's like a journey that I'm embarking on because I've never shown any self-love to myself. It is very clear that I've never really shown any sort of self-love to myself, right? From the people that I choose to like involve in my life to the people that I give my energy to, I don't show much self-love. And it's very clear and apparent to me. And the more that I go through therapy and stuff like that, the more I realize how little I value my life. I value everybody else's life, including all of you guys, much more than I value my own, by the way. It's weird when you have to put value on yourself when you haven't done it in such a long time. And that is something that I'm slowly learning to do. I'm learning to spend my time on me. I'm learning to spend my money on me. I'm learning to spend my energy on me. And even though it feels like shit because I don't like doing things for myself, it does not bring me fulfillment. I still have to do it because it's something that I need to learn to do. So my struggles right now have stopped being about art and they're more about the interconnecting like relationships that I have with myself. And once I break that, once I learn how that works and how I function in that way, then I can probably be a little bit more self-sustaining when it comes down to a lot of aspects of my life. Like I won't be searching for happiness from someone else or from something else more often than not, which is the number one key as to why I want to be able to learn to do that. Because I find myself only finding joy when other people are joyful around me and that is not sustainable. So the more you learn about yourself, the more you end up realizing that maybe you have a few things you can work on, you have to work on, you maybe should work on. And, as you get older, you realize that those aren't flaws. They're not because you're broken, it's because you've lived a life. And everybody lives life a little different. Right? Everybody approaches life in the way that they feel more like apt to be able to survive in. Like the way you are is your survival mechanism. That is how you have learned to cope with the fucked upness of the world. So we sometimes just need to learn that those coping mechanisms that we have aren't the most ideal if we want to progress in our lives in a more happy and, understanding way. Sometimes we need to learn to break through our own little habits and our own little, errors and mistakes that we create around us, around the people that we love, around the things that we want to accomplish. And little by little, break those walls down so that you can actually get to what you want to do in life. Sometimes that takes a long time. Sometimes that takes a lifetime. Sometimes that doesn't take too long and it comes to you easier. It's going to be a little bit different for everybody. But we're all in this journey together. We're all in this together. And if we all help each other out, I do it by helping you guys learn to draw and imagine things better. That is what my purpose is here. That is what my goal is, to make sure your guys' careers are a little bit easier. This is me chipping in to make sure that you guys have a successful career. So I hope that you guys learn a lot from whenever I draw. I'm not always going to be here. I'm not always going to be able to draw alongside with you guys every day. Life is very uncertain. And I'm not a person that makes the best decisions in my life. So at one point or another, I'll die. At one point or another, either from old age or just motorcycle accident or something like that, I will eventually die. And when I do die, I want you guys to have access to all this information regardless, so that you can grow when you guys have information. Even though I'm not here, you guys still have value with me. And it's something I think about all the time, by the way, because I don't have kids. I don't have really legacy. I don't have friends that I don't have people like that in my life. So my legacy will be my knowledge, and my legacy will be you guys. It's not sad. It's not because I can't make friends. In all reality, I've had a very long life, and people have proven to me once and time again that people can't be trusted. So unfortunately for me, I've been to the point where I've met enough people that I know that I'm better off by myself. It's a sad realization when you realize that the people that love and have loved you are the people that have caused the most pain in your life. So in order to avoid that pain again, you just avoid being around people. You avoid caring. You avoid making yourself vulnerable, right? That way you don't get hurt. So it's much easier to be lonely than be heartbroken for me. So I don't do that anymore. I'm just very careful. I'm incredibly meticulously careful with who I allow in my life. And that's essentially it. That's pretty much it. Just be careful with who you allow to give your time and attention and stuff. I used to live by that, and it's not really good as humans. you know what? I get my socializing through online. I socialize through all my friends online and all the people that I talk to through the streams and stuff like that. That is more than enough socializing for me. I play pool once and 2 or 3 times a week, so I'm perfectly fine. Still, I don't think that means you should close yourself. You know, if someone actually wants to put effort, they have much more access to me. But I'm tired of being the person that always puts the effort in. And quite reality, like, I think most of the people in my life, if I don't message them first, I don't get a text. I don't get a message. I don't hear from them unless they need something. So, you know, at one point I just stopped messaging people. And nobody hit me up. So at that point I was like, cool, let's see how far we can go. Let's see how long this goes before somebody messages me. It was about 6 months before someone messaged me, and it was because they needed something. So at that point, I was like, you know, I'm done. I really don't need to be in a situation where I feel more alone being around someone than feeling alone by myself. That is something that you never really want to ever experience. Like, if you feel alone being around someone, you are around the wrong person. You should never feel like you are alone when you have company. And if you do, then you have the wrong company. You're so real for this, but you're amazing at art, and I love your style. Thank you. Yeah, RODGON, he's a grown man. He has this, yeah. I have my own. I'm 40 years old. Like, I'm well in my adulthood. I just drew myself, yes. When's my birthday? My birthday just happened. My birthday happened on the 12th of December. And I did nothing. I just stayed home. I got a couple like happy birthday messages. That was nice. From like some people online, but it's not like anybody threw a party or anything like that for me. People don't do that stuff for me. It'd be nice to at one point have friends, though, to do that. I'm 40 years old. Is it too late? No, it's never too late. It's never too late. I've had people that are like 55, 60 that have like trained with me, and they become incredibly happy with what they have. So it's never too late. You're never too old. You just have to want to and have the time to do it. Right? You can be like 95 and still learn how to draw pretty damn good, but you just have to have the will and the time to actually want to do it. And if you are interested, I can help you. I give guidance to people that are willing to follow directions. So if you're interested, I can help you. Like, I don't mind doing that. What state do I live in? You're starting to ask my birthday and the state I live in. It's starting to sound like a scam. I live in the sunny state of California. Anyways, we are coming towards Social Security next. All right, let's recap what we've learned today. So we started off our stream a little bit slow because we didn't really know what we wanted to draw. So we started drawing eyes, and then I started explaining the human body and how you can learn to break it down into 2 systems that are relatively simple to learn so that you can comprise yourself of a human skeleton. I was talking then later how you can take your human anatomy and then relegate that to animal anatomy by simply learning how your rib cage and your collarbone and your hip bones work, right? Because all animals, except especially mammals, have the same sort of configuration. They have a head, they have a rib cage, and they have a hip bone. And learning your HRH or your 3-point system, 3 hard surface system, that's what I like to call it. Learning those and learning how to change the dimensions of them can help you understand different proportions. Even foreshortening and stuff like that can happen with that as well. But that's not really the point of this. This is more like a structural thing. Then I taught you guys how to see your hip bones in a couple different ways and how the importance happens, because once you understand how they connect, you can move them. Then we went into profiles and fisheye perspective, and I explained how to draw eyes from absolutely nothing in 2 different ways. If you're an anatomically structured human being, I taught you guys how to see it as a simple basic shape like a sphere. Or if you are a more iconic type of person, I taught you guys how to do it in a 5-circle method. Okay, so doing it like that can help you understand it. If you don't understand it like this, I also taught you guys how to make your eyes looking in different directions so that you guys understand the curvature of your actual eye, how to draw things like angled eyes in different directions, and how to play with proportions for your nose. We went over, if you don't understand how to draw things in general, how you can start with your very basic concepts of a happy face, emojis, and learned how to rotate those with a simple guideline. And then we went into mouths, noses, and profiles and taught you guys how to see your structures and how your teeth get drawn around and how they can be simplified into 2 simple lines. A top line and a bottom line, and then you can give those lines volume and give those really cool, awesome lips. Yay, look at that. I draw mouths really quick. Yay, they're so cool. Awesome mouths. Yay. Anyways, then we talked a little bit about how eyes are similar, but you just change the negative space for an eyeball and you have eyes. Okay, so that is 2 concepts. We talked about my birthday and why I don't socialize with human beings. We drew a little bit of faces and structures to show you guys how the nose works, and we are ending it around with a little happy heart to tell you guys that I'm incredibly joyful. And even though I tell you guys things about my life that are not necessarily the happiest, please understand that I'm a very happy person right now. I am not sad, I am not lonely, and I don't need help or any sort of, I don't need you guys to save me from what I tell you guys. That's the one thing that I need you guys to understand. If I'm sharing with you guys, it's because I feel like you guys could use some insight as to how I think, how I am, not because I need your guys' help or salvation or anything like that. When I tell you guys I don't have friends, that doesn't mean that I want friends. So please don't take that as a negative inclination of me like rejecting your messages or whatever. It's not something that I'm normally really good at, and it's not something that I'm actively searching for. So please don't take it as a negative thing. I'm just another human being with their own little sets of special like niches and brains things that happen. And I function a very little bit different than other people. So I don't like being friends with everybody, but I like helping everybody. So I hope that that's an okay measure for you guys, at least for now. And with that being said, I'm going to sign off. Let you guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy your Thursdays. And I will see you guys later tonight, or I will see you guys tomorrow for another lesson. Thank you so much for being my sketching buddies. Thank you for listening to me because, yeah, it's nice. Screenshot? Sure. Let's do some screenshots. So I'll let you guys take a look at the page, screenshot it all you want, do it in 2 sections. 1, 2. And yeah, I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna get my puppy some attention because he's probably needing that. I will probably start filming some stuff or editing some stuff because I need to catch up on a lot of work. And yeah, other than that, take care, everybody. You guys are awesome. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. See you guys later on. If you guys want more knowledge, if you guys are not done drawing and you guys want more information, there's like 400 videos on YouTube. There's like a ridiculous amount of videos on YouTube now. Please go check them out. There's like tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. So if you guys want to learn more, you guys can always go here. I put the best ones that we do there. And other than that, we're done. Take care, everybody. Love you all. See you guys later. Bye.